This was a mixed result coming in from SAP early this morning out of Germany. Company had a top line beat, but a bottom line miss. So, we talked a little bit early on about kind of what's going on in the market. Look, I'm going to be pretty straightforward about SAP. I'm watching cloud. When I look at that company, they are a recurring revenue machine in terms of hundreds of thousands of customers that depend on SAP to run their businesses. You look at their overall revenue, very predictable, a lot like some of the other big software players. And that's been one of the things that's made the company incredibly dependable. But growth and cloud have been kind of the question marks that have been around the company for some time. I think they're actually really making some progress here. And this quarter, they saw 31% cloud growth, 25% at constant currency. They saw that backlog in cloud grow significantly, nearing $10 billion, up 28%. SAP S/4HANA cloud revenue, 78% growth. And a reaffirmed outlook for the company. So what happened on the miss? Well, our next topic, we're going to talk a little bit about a note that came out this week about SAP's, what they're doing to deal with the Russia and Ukraine war. But that had a big part of it. One thing I liked, Pat, and you and I got access to this morning, is I've been asking, and I've said, over many years, one of the big complaints about S4 is that the lift from legacy on-prem SAP to S4 is a significant transformation that companies cannot make gradually. It's a fairly large lift and shift. So the company's got this rise with SAP. We've talked about it here on the show. And the whole idea was providing basically a simpler pathway for companies to move from legacy on-prem to S4 and do it as seamlessly as possible. But that transition is significant. So the company's been working really hard to make it easier so that a company can make the shift. You saw 500 more customers this quarter jump over to S4. You saw the adoption number jump to just under 20,000, 18% growth. You're seeing RISE, though, becoming highly adopted by big companies that wanted to make this transition. What are some names? How about Accenture? How about Daimler? How about NEC out of Japan? And you also, and by the way, that's just a select few. You also saw Microsoft, which again, you'd say, oh, aren't they competitors? Yes, but Microsoft also works with and uses some of SAP's technology. And they actually announced that they're going to become the first public cloud provider to adopt the RISE with SAP and SAP S/4HANA transform in their own SAP deployment.
Wait, let me see if I got this right. The company who makes Dynamics 365 is using RISE with SAP on their own internal ERP.
In this case, right, what they're doing, they're doing their own, they're transforming. Okay, so let me just read the word.
It's not that hard of a question.
Read the word. SAP S/4HANA to transform its own SAP ERP deployment. So yes. And it's going to enable Microsoft to move faster. So that's kind of a nice validation of what SAP is doing with RISE. So strong regional performance, strong top line performance, a little bit of a miss on the bottom line. I think we can talk more about what that means in the next segment, Pat. But overall, I keep saying, watch the cloud growth. It's a sticky business. SAP's got a huge number of customers, and seeing that transformation from prem to cloud in its broader customer base is the biggest indicator I can give the market in terms of how successful the companies be over the long haul.
Man, you're on fire. You really are. So the only net adder I'm going to put up is, I think SAP probably for the last year has been way too apologetic on cloud. Okay. I think about a year ago, while I wouldn't say investors looked at the hybrid cloud, but the reality is everybody agrees the hybrid cloud is the future. Okay. And that hybrid cloud is basically a combination of resources that are in the public cloud and that are on-prem on a cloud basis. But this slide alone, right, tells me that that the company is getting a lot more aggressive in telling their story. I mean, these are very respectable numbers, right? And then the cloud revenue numbers are similar to IBM's, because we're really looking at hybrid cloud. Sorry, we're really looking at an on-prem private cloud versus something different. But look at those 71% growth in S4 HANA Cloud. That's a monster. Look at that backlog at 79%. And then finally, Qualtrics, which I believe is going away after a while, more of a SaaS play. Those are actually bigger numbers than an enterprise.
So Qualtrics was spun off, but SAP still holds the the majority of the share, kind of like the VMware.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for the thanks for the clarity on that. But still, the interesting part is Qualtrics, which like 48%. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like typical SaaS growth is, we've seen is like 30, 35%, right? From the big guys, whether it's Oracle or even Salesforce. These are monster numbers. So net, congratulations on a great cloud quarter. Some of the customers that were brought out as well, like Accenture, Daimler Truck, Grupo Estrella Blanca, Exide, NEC, Oridu, Quinquin Food, Rising Auto, TELUS, Tremontina, and Wipro. Right? Those are big names. So I don't know, Daniel. Something big seems to be brewing at SAP, and you started on this, and I'm going to end on this. What people need to understand about SAP is SAP is at the center of business, and there's legacy in there. This is not standing up a new application that's brand new with brand new data. Some of these databases or applications go all the way back 25 years ago. And with Rise, and when you're moving to S4 HANA, you're not just doing a copy and a paste. You're not doing a lift and shift. You're completely redoing the business processes. Okay, how you make products, how you source raw material, how you invoice, and how you pay people. The basics of business, as opposed to some brand new application that sits out on the edge that has no cruff.